Hello everyone, this is AndresRestart, and today we are talking about the date for the Nintendo Direct. Some leakers are finally speaking out on when they sort of expect this Direct to happen, and perhaps more importantly, there appears to have been a leak related to Among Us that could be giving us the exact date for this presentation, which, spoiler, is going to be happening sometime next week. Beyond that though, I would also like to have a bit of discussion on how this upcoming Nintendo Direct could match up to the Xbox Showcase. There's a lot of talk that this Xbox Showcase was amazing, I agree, it was, but many think this Direct will not match up. And so I would like to talk about some ways that this Direct could still be pretty good and match up somewhat well to the Xbox Showcase. But before going forward, let me ask that if you do enjoy my content, to please subscribe and hit that notification bell. So we have two different leakers on Family Boards that are now expressing some window of time for when they're expecting this Direct. Nate the Hate, many of you may be familiar with him, is saying that they have a 3-day window of time in mind, which to me just suggests that they're thinking the Direct will happen on a Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday, a 3-day window of time. And at this point, because I'm recording this on the 11th after Nintendo would have made an announcement for a Direct on a Wednesday for the 12th, I no longer think the Direct is happening this week, so it has to either be next week or the week after. So this 3-day window of time that Nate the Hate is referring to is either the 18th, the 19th, or the 20th, I think, or somehow the 25th, the 26th, or the 27th. Now another leaker on Family Boards, Brazil, is saying that they're not expecting the Direct until the second half of the month. Of course, at this point, that seems pretty obvious. Though when they said this, there was maybe still a small chance it could have happened this week, and now it seems like for sure that's not happening. But their expectation is for the 19th at the earliest. But we have what appears to be some solid info on something relating to Among Us that may be in the Nintendo Direct. So firstly, Innersloth, the developer of Among Us, on their website, they updated it and talked about how there would be 3 new roles and that it was scheduled for June 18th. They've since taken down this update to the blog. So on June 18th, there was supposed to be an update for Among Us, and now they're hiding that fact. Though what makes things even more interesting is that GameSpot actually leaked a trailer of Among Us with the update that had this information, but the trailer also included a part where it said, "out now." So the implication of those words, "out now," suggests an immediate shadow drop being made available at the time of the release of this information. So this information wouldn't be coming out until presumably the 18th. And considering the history of Among Us updates in Nintendo Directs, many are thinking that this trailer is supposed to come out during the Nintendo Direct because they didn't do anything during Summer Games Fest. Why would they skip that event to make this announcement? Perhaps because they were saving an announcement like this for the next big Nintendo Direct that could be happening sometime next week. Which lines up with my speculation. I've been either, hey, it's the 12th or the 19th, and at this point, I'm taking the L. It's not on the 12th, but the 19th is when I've been thinking. However, this leak is for the 18th, so I'm still not totally right if this ends up happening on a Tuesday. But let's speak on that for a moment, because Brazil also said that they're not expecting this Direct until the 19th at the earliest. Why is that? Well, I think it just comes down to that most Nintendo Directs outside of E3 happen on Wednesdays or Thursdays. Tuesdays are more of a rarity unless you include E3, but since E3 no longer exists, then Tuesday doesn't seem like a realistic expectation. But actually, we did have a partner Direct in June a couple years ago that fell on a Tuesday. So there are still Direct presentations that happen on Tuesdays outside of E3. So going back to the 3-day window that Nate the Hate suggested, I believe the thinking is Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday. I think all of those days are a reasonable possibility. And so, really, the 18th, if that's when they're doing it, that's totally fine. And that just means the Direct is coming one day earlier, which I'm more than happy with, because I'm very eager to hear more about what Nintendo has to offer. So it's possible that this Among Us update is not related to a Nintendo Direct. Maybe they're simply going to be putting out the trailer on the 18th and just shadow dropping it themselves, and that's all it is, just a random Tuesday before Direct. But it is peculiar because they also didn't do this during the Summer Games Fest time when they had ample opportunity to. So I'm definitely leaning towards the Direct is happening on the 18th or 19th. That's definitely what I'm thinking at this point in time. But when this Direct comes, how is it going to measure up to the Xbox Showcase? Can it measure up to the Xbox Showcase? Let's remind ourselves that this Direct is not supposed to have anything Switch 2 related, and it's focusing on Nintendo's lineup for 2024. With this in mind, I think it's going to be very challenging for the Direct to measure up to the Xbox show. So if you're looking for a lot of high fidelity, technically impressive games that are not coming out until 2025 or beyond, then this Direct probably is not going to be for you. Where Nintendo's strength typically lies is in its variety. I think this Direct will appeal to a wide range of gamers who are looking for different things. I think there will still be a little bit of that high fidelity, grand in scope, AAA sort of offering that's coming a little bit later on, say maybe Metroid Prime 4, and I think something like Metroid Prime 4 may be looked upon more fondly than most things that have been talked about this entire year. I think it's going to be that big of a deal of a game, but it will just be one game. I think there will be other things we'll see in the presentation that will appeal to different kinds of gamers, something like a Mario Party appealing to the family-friendly sort of content. But then also the Zelda fans. I think there's a good chance that something Zelda will be in there, perhaps the next installment in the 2D Zelda series, something we haven't seen in years. And there may be a great variety of indie games and some other third-party offerings as well, and together what it may provide is a compelling picture of what's to come in the next few months for Nintendo Switch. While I think something like Prime 4 may be a next year thing, I think ultimately the majority of things that will be in this presentation will be telling us about things to enjoy within these next few months of 2024, and so I think this Direct is going to do a pretty good job of just showing us things to keep us engaged for the next few months, and it's in that way that this Direct may be considered better than the Xbox Showcase, if they have a strong lineup for this final half of 2024. I'm not saying it's going to be filled with bigger, better games than we saw during the Xbox Showcase. I don't think they can do that with the conditions in mind. But can they showcase things that appeal to a wider audience, that assure us we'll have something to enjoy and keep us entertained for the next few months? That I think the Direct has a decent shot of doing. But what do you think? Let me know in the comments below. This is AndresRestart. Thank you so much for listening and watching, and I'll see you all really soon. Take care. Bye.